So, sir, looking at the current scenario, what is your definition of the obscene success, and how do you correlate it to the student's life, sir?
Okay. So, when you are studying or when you are working somewhere, you start working, we often want to make sure that we are doing well. That is everybody's desire. So when I say obscene success is nothing but whatever you're doing, how do you do it in a way that it gives a wow feeling to yourself? So for example, you're a student, you have an internship in a company, and you have an assignment to submit, you have a project you're working on. How do you do that in a way that the output is better than what even you had expected and you had set as a goal?
So, when we analyze the things that what we are supposed to do, and then we bifurcate the things into the small goals, then we try to figure out the things to reach that expected result. This is what
Yeah.
we do.
So for me, obscene success is always doing things better than what you expected and bring that wow, aha moments in achieving success. And it should be a daily thing, every day you should try to do things, whatever you're doing, better than what you expected, so that eventually it all comes together and becomes obscene success.
Right, sir. And so, if a student of my age, or how do you share your perspectives to the students or someone of my age to identify whether the things they have been doing or their instinct or the things that they want to do, are they on the right track? How should they identify the things?
What do you mean by that?
How student can identify their true calling, sir? Like whether the things that they are doing are correct, or they are on the wrong track, like with respect to the goals they want to achieve.
I mean, see, it's a very personal question for everybody. Matlab, everybody has certain aspirations and goals in life.
Right, sir.
And many times these aspirations and goals will keep changing as well.
Yeah.
For example, I was recently listening to Ronnie Screwvala. And one of the things Ronnie Screwvala was sharing is, he said, you can have an overarching ambition that I want to be a businessman. Maybe you don't know which business to start. That is not a problem. That can keep changing. You can run a restaurant, then you can go and run an IT company, then you can go and run a coffee shop, then you can go and take movies. That's different. But the way, I think, first of all, in the early formative years, students should try many things. It is not possible for you to know exactly at 21 years old what you have to do, what you want to do, sorry. That's why in India, many people end up joining IT.
Yeah.
So that's the easiest way, a lot of jobs, everybody becomes an IT software engineer. But somewhere, if you try few things, you will find out. And that is why, I often tell people as well that when you are in school, for example, 10th, 11th and 12th, you can actually go and do part-time work. Even if it is going to McDonald's or Domino's Pizza, whatever job, if it's delivery boy or if it is sitting in the shop talking to customers. There's a very famous story I want to share. The story goes like this, there is a supermarket and there is a boy called Johnny working there. Johnny is in the billing counter. So people bring all the things they bought, they bill, they pay money, and they go. So Johnny was thinking, how do I make this experience like an obscene success? So he went and asked his dad, Dad, I want to, every customer who comes to billing to me, I want to make an impression. So he made a quote for the day. Olden days, in the railway station, there is this weighing machine. When you put money, it will print a card and it has a message in the back.
Yes, yes.
So something like that, he actually printed a message in a paper and he cut into pieces and he made like 100, 200 copies. So every time customers came to his billing, to his counter, when they finished the billing, he used to give them a message of the day. So people used to like it, they really enjoyed that message of the day. And after a week, everybody heard about it. Suddenly there is very big queue in Johnny's counter because everybody wants the message of the day. And the manager is telling others, why don't you go to counter number 4, counter number 7, counter number 9? They say, no, we want Johnny's message. That is, and because of Johnny, that store had a very huge profit, very huge revenue, sales. Now, a lot of people may think that, why should I work these kind of part-time jobs, menial jobs? How can I go and do cleaning? How can I do cooking? When I was studying in Australia, even actually in India, I must say, before I went to Australia, I was actually during my school holidays and college holidays, I have done jobs. I used to go and do door-to-door sales of SIM cards. I used to work in a music shop selling music CDs and cassettes. All these things helps you find what you really enjoy in life. If you work in a shop, you interact with customers. And when you interact with customers, you learn customer interaction and you improve yourself.
Definitely.
So I request students to be not just doing one thing, just studying, go to college, study, come back home, play with friends, be on Netflix. Isse life nahi hoega, you have to really be innovative, go out, do part-time work, do some internships, get yourself out of your comfort zone. That's what I think will help students.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. Like this is the need of the sir. Like, would you say, like, does it boil down to with a suggestion that during the college or even at the time of schooling, we are expected to do multiple internships so that that could add some sort of value and give certain experiences.
But it is not just internship. That's what I'm saying. It's even doing small jobs. Saturday, Sunday time you will have. You can go to a shop and work, nearby shop, find some job. Don't worry about the salary. It's experience. Dealing with customers and handling complaints, whatever is possible.
Indeed. Indeed. So, moving ahead, I would like to take back to your childhood. Like, I wanted to know what was that one incident that really transformed you to become a CEO at such a young age?
There is no one incident that transformed me to become a CEO. I would just say that, as a kid, I was a very active person, very extroverted person. I still remember, most of my friends' parents knew me more than my friends. So जब भी मैं उनके घर जाता था तो सीधे I'll go to the kitchen and say, आंटी आज क्या है खाने के लिए? मुझे भूख लग रहा है. That's the kind of student, a kid I was. So all the mothers and fathers used to like me, and then I will sit and gappa, I'll do a lot of chit chat. पूरी दुनिया के बात कर रहा था. So, and in fact, I still remember, my sister used to hate me because when all her friends come, I sit and talk to them. And she would have no time. She'd be saying, they are my friends. Why are you sitting and chatting with them? So that is how I was. And I think somewhere it was making me a very confident person. It was making me a very people person. I always like to help people, not just at a work stuff, but even personal stuff. So if somebody, किसी के घर पे काम वाली नहीं आई है तो I used to call and arrange my maid to go and help them. Plumber नहीं आया या पानी का problem है या whatever, so I was always kind of a very helpful person and a people's person. I think that is what eventually transformed me today to be a CEO.
Amazing. Sir, apart from being CEO of a global conglomerate, you're also known as Mr. Fit and Fab on LinkedIn. So I wanted to know a few things about that.
Okay.
How was your journey and how transformed?
So
made such a huge transformation.
Sure. Again, as a child, school student, college student, I was never a fit person. I'm talking about like I didn't have any health issues and stuff, but I wasn't looking very smart and all that. When I was student, from a fitness perspective. It was very recent, more during lockdown. I mean, I would say even before lockdown, I used to be very cautious about my health. I was trying to keep as fit as possible, but I was never really, really fit. It was more in the lockdown. So just before, I think just about on the day of lockdown, I came to India 2 years ago. And since the last 2 years, I was traveling a lot within India. And I'm a foodie, so I love my food. And every city I went, it was new food. First time I was trying Maharashtrian food. First time I was trying Bengali food, Gujarati food, Punjabi food, Andhra food. I went to Bihar. I was trying the Bihari food, Pahadi food. And I was just going crazy, I came to India, I was 77 kilos. By the time it was January this year, I was 87 kilos. And I did not even like looking at myself in the mirror. I just hated to see myself because I felt I was looking very ugly. And I used to have a very big, stomach and all that. And I used to feel very tired. So the day of lockdown, I decided that I need to change this. And I have to do something. So actually, it is not about the health, it is a mental thing. When you decide mentally you want to become fit, then you can do whatever you want. So all of a sudden, I decided to control my food, and I started to work out as well. I got some dumbbells at home because lockdown happened, gym was not open. Then I started following YouTube videos to do dumbbell-based full body workout. Then evening, I used to go for a half an hour, 45-minute cardio exercise, running and stuff. So every day I used to work out for like 1.5 to 2 hours. And I started practicing intermittent fasting. So basically, after 6 o'clock, I stopped eating anything. So I used to eat only from morning 8 o'clock till evening 6 o'clock. Combined with this, within about 3 months, I brought my weight down to 73, 74 kilos. So now I'm maintaining it at 75 because I didn't want to lose too much weight. But now I'm working more on my muscle building. And if you see my Instagram photos or LinkedIn photos, you can see the transformation I have made in terms of, first time in my life, I have biceps muscles, I have chest muscles. I'm feeling very good, and yeah, it's a great feeling. So that's how my health transformation happened.
Amazing. So on that note, I also want to know like how important, though physical health is really very important, but again, how important is mental health in the given scenario? What are your perspective on this?
You can't have just one without the other. You have to be physically and mentally fit. You can't just be physically fit and mentally not fit, and vice versa. You can't be mentally fit and physically unfit. I don't think it is only current scenario, Gaurav. It is always mental and physical fitness is important. You have to focus on being happy, and being happy is not in anybody's hands. A lot of people say that my wife is not keeping me happy, my boss is not keeping me happy, my parents are not keeping me happy, my girlfriend or boyfriend is not keeping me happy. It is not in anybody's hands. Nobody can make you happy. You have to make yourself happy. If you decide to be happy, you will be happy. Even if tomorrow you lose your job, you choose to be happy or unhappy.
Right.
And my theory is simple, by being mentally upset, is it going to solve a problem? It doesn't solve a
Indeed.
problem, right?
Yes, sir.
So when it doesn't solve your problem, then why do you feel upset? There's no point in feeling upset.
Agreed.
Whatever happens, and thankfully, I'm a very stress-free person. I'm very easygoing. I don't worry about things too much. Agar kuch bhi hua to I'm like, okay, chalo, ho gaya to ho gaya. Like, you said technical glitch. I mean, I can't do anything, technical glitch is technical glitch. It happens. By
Right.
me getting upset, angry, can it change anything? It can't change anything. So I may
Indeed.
as well just go with the flow and be happy.
Yes.
What I would suggest to everybody is to really practice gratitude first. First, be very thankful of what you got in your life. Don't worry about what you don't have, because you can never keep yourself happy by wanting more and more. Especially we compare with others. कि उसको क्यों इतना मिला? Why is he so rich? Why does he or she get better salary, better promotion? It becomes a never-ending exercise in your life. You will be dead. Every day you keep comparing with your friends. It becomes frustrating.
Yes, sir.
So just be happy. Uh, Try to become a better version every day. Yesterday, if you read one book, today try to read two books. Rather than saying कि अरे उसने 4 book पढ़ लिया तो मुझे 5 पढ़ना है. And the second aspect I want to talk about is mindfulness. This is something that I'm practicing or trying to practice more and more. Mindfulness, a lot of people think that multitasking is very good, but multitasking at the same point of time is not possible. Like agar now you're talking to me, at the same time, if you want to type an email, it's not possible.
Right.
But today what we do is we sit in front of TV, we are browsing our phone, we are eating food, all same time. Nothing is happening properly.
Yes, sir.
So we need to practice doing one thing at one time. In fact, one simple change I want everybody to think about is when you are eating food, stop all devices. Don't watch TV, don't watch phone, don't talk to anybody. Just you and your food. It's a personal time for the food, and you have to enjoy every morsel of food, relish the taste, smell, दिखने में कैसा है सब कुछ. And that's what I would recommend. When you start from there, slowly you will see a change. Even when you're drinking water, enjoy that sip of water. Feel that water going inside your throat. This is meditation actually. You don't have to
Right.
sit and close your eyes and do meditation. You can actually practice meditation by just focusing on one thing. And slowly you will see your mental health becomes better.
Amazing, sir. Absolutely. Meditation indeed helps a lot to be calm and grow internally and personally also, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, moving ahead, I also want to know, like, what you being at such a position, what you think that today's youths are liking or students are liking in any of the elements?
I mean, I would not call it lacking. I would more call it as what can they develop further. And Gaurav, one thing I want everybody to understand is we are all a product of our upbringing, our background, of our life. Where we are born, our parents, our siblings, friends. This is what makes us whatever we are today. So somebody, you meet and you say that, "Arey, mujhe pasand nahi hai wo." Actually, they are not behaving the way they are behaving because they want to behave like that. They are behaving because that's how their environment has been. So we need to understand that very well. And then when we talk about students today coming to workforce, many of them learn knowledge. They don't learn skill. books. We read a lot of books. We study theory from books. I was, yesterday talking to my neighbor, and she was telling me that we don't need to teach the children knowledge. We need to teach them how to use the knowledge. For example, today there's a lot of data available in everywhere, everywhere in college, in school, in companies. We have a lot of data. We don't need to teach students how to read the data. We need to teach the students what do you use the data? How do you use the data? How to analyze the data?
Yes,
One of the things, that schools are teaching is when you read an article, news article, how to distinguish what is fact and what is opinion. So my recommendation to students is, first of all, learn what is more important for organizations. Like I don't know how many colleges teach how to prepare a PowerPoint presentation.
There are very few colleges.
Yeah.
They really work upon the things that are really essential in industry.
I
Like
would suggest focus on soft skills. Technical skills we can teach. Anybody can teach technical skills, but soft skills is not something that you can teach easily.
right. So on that note, I would like to ask you, like, do you feel that the new education policy that has been implemented that could really bring some change in our traditional education system?
Definitely.
Like
I have not read it in full part, but whatever I have read, it will definitely bring about a change. I don't think the problem is the law or the policy. The problem is the implementation. People have to follow.
Yes, sir.
So I think it definitely has a lot of merit because it is becoming more experiential learning, experience-based learning. And that is what I always tell students, that don't wait for colleges and schools and teachers to change things. You can always change things for yourself. If you try and work somewhere all the time, then you experience and you learn.
Right, sir. So, as we are talking about chasing the option success and unleashing our own potential, what would be your tips to someone of my age to identify their true potential? Like, what are the points that should be considered?
True potential, there is no limit, first of all. The limit is in our mind. So I would suggest, first of all, you need to have a long vision or a goal, what you want to achieve in life. And the goal is not just about, I want to become a CEO or I want to become a millionaire. What really brings you happiness? That should be the goal. And then once you have your goal clear, it's about working out towards those goals, right? So understanding what can help you to take one step at a time. But the biggest challenge I find in many of these young generation now is they are very tactical but not strategic. Tactics is a way to achieve the strategy, but tactics alone cannot achieve the strategy. So when I talk about strategy is, in cricket, the fast bowler is running far away behind the crease before he pitches the ball to the batsman, correct? He takes a long run.
Yeah.
Why does he take a long run?
To give a proper swing and so that we could pitch in the ball and get the wicket.
Right? But to pitch the ball, he walks back, right?
Yes, sir.
Walks back and then runs forward.
Right.
So a lot of times you have to go back in life to come forward. And a lot of times when we are going back, we get very irritated, Arey, ye kya ho gaya abhi? Mujhe demotion ho gaya. Now they're asking me to take a smaller role. Like somebody could be a branch manager in a company, and maybe in another company they are a deputy branch manager. But the title is not what is the concern, right? It is the size of the business. Maybe the business is bigger in size. Like somebody said they are a DGM, but in my company they are only a senior manager because we are much bigger. So that is what I think is important. You really have to have a strategic view of life. Then you apply a tactics. That is what will help you to identify your true potential. And I really encourage people of your generation, Gaurav, practice meditation, yoga. Have a good life. Matlab, waking up early, practicing good habits. This will really help you to see who you are as a person.
Right. So on that note, I want to ask you, like, are you into deep meditation, like, and spirituality as well?
I'm a spiritual person. I'm not into deep meditation yet. I'm still a very early meditation practitioner. I do meditation every day. And I do a lot of chanting. So I do a lot of prayers as well. But I do the prayers not for the religious reasons, but more for spiritual reasons. More to calm myself down, because I believe that mantras have vibrations which bring positivity and happiness. So I chant a lot of mantras for that reason, like Gayatri mantra and stuff like that. I believe in the power of Almighty. I do believe that there is somebody above us who's controlling us, and we should respect that. But I strongly believe that all religions are is as important as each other. So yeah, I do have a lot of healthy habits. So I wake up every day at 4:45 in the morning. I have my exercise, meditation. I do positive reaffirmation. So I say a lot of positive things aloud, and breathing exercises. And then I go to work by 8 o'clock, and then I finish my work by 6 o'clock. I don't like to work too long. Then I come back home, freshen myself, and spend time with the family.
So, has your meditation and these habits have impacted your work efficiency, like uh, the way you used to work prior to practicing or getting into spiritually on all those things? Like, have it helped you in person?
Absolutely. I think my personal habits are one of the biggest reasons for my success in my life. Everybody wants amazing success, Gaurav, but nobody wants to work hard for it or work towards it. Sabko CEO banna hai, but nobody wants to sacrifice waking up early, doing meditation, doing yoga, exercising. All that they don't want to do, but they want to become a CEO. You can't have the cake and you can't eat it, right?
So moving ahead, so we got connected on LinkedIn, and we are under the umbrella of LinkedIn, as you said initially. So how important are social media platforms like LinkedIn important in student life? How do you correlate it?
I recently watched a Netflix series called Social Dilemma. I don't know if you've seen it. You
Definitely.
should you should watch it. It's called Social Dilemma, and it's a very scary documentary. It's a real story of how social media companies are manipulating people for their own benefit. So the most important thing they say is that life may social media should be a tool, not the means to an end, but a tool to a end. Tool to a means, I would say. Imagine a television, imagine a scooter, a car. Does the television call you and say, please use me? Does your bicycle or a scooter call you and say, please drive me?
Never.
But
We
your
are the one who.
mobile phone does that, right?
Right.
Notification comes. I
Get the.
recently noticed Instagram, so I don't know if it is true or not true, but 2 weeks ago, I stopped. I didn't have time to post anything, so I didn't post anything. And from that day onwards, my followers have started decreasing. And even recently, after watching your stuff, a lot of people are following me, but the numbers are actually going down. So I was very, I mean, not that I don't worry too much about my followers and stuff, but I was just very curious whether Instagram is wantedly reducing my followers so that I post more content. So what I'm trying to say is, please don't make yourself a social media slave. Don't let social media control you, but you control social media, number one. Number two, should you be using social media? Absolutely yes. But use it for the benefit that it brings. Don't use it to show your, like if you look at my social media, I have never posted about my family anywhere. I don't show my kids, my wife, where I travel, where I eat. I don't think this is necessary, because now you're telling people about your lifestyle. And I have heard stories, right? Like, the thief will know that you're not home. You're having lunch in Taj Coromandel, and then he goes to your house, he can steal all your property and he will go by watching your social media. So don't become a slave. Use it.
Yeah, it have happened many times.
LinkedIn is a great platform again for connecting with people, connecting with leaders. But I know what I don't like is a lot of people messaging me, hi, good morning, hello, and then they're quiet. I'm not going to reply to every good morning messages, every hello, good morning, how are you messages. I get thousands of messages every day. So I always tell people that when you are messaging people in social media, be very crisp, be to the point. Tell them what you can offer, tell them what you expect.
Right, sir.
And when you are asking something, you should also give them something. You can't just say, I want a job. You have to specifically find a way to connect with that person's interest and then tell them you want a job.
Yes, sir. So we also had a question from our audience that can you share a few insights about the content that is supposed to be posted, like what kind of content is the need of the hour, and
Okay.
should it be correlating to the connection that we have been associated with, the profile we are into? Like
The kind of things to post, I mean, end of the day, you have to first choose, find out what are you good at, and then try to post content that is relevant to what you are trying to learn and relevant to what you are trying to convey. I tell you what I don't like, and this is a very personal thing. Maybe some people like it. A lot of people, put some posts and say, please comment your email address. Please, say yes. They are just trying to increase their followers. Tag your friend. Tell him, I will share you a book about some subject. I will send you articles. ये सब बकवास है मेरे हिसाब से. I think if you genuinely want to put good content, if you want to genuinely share an article, share the article on LinkedIn, na?
right.
And everybody can read it.
Yeah.
Not collecting email addresses. A lot of jobs, people post jobs and they say, if you want a job in Dubai, please hit like. Please put your email address. This is not good content for me. This is very cheap content. ये बहुत low level का content है. So the kind of content you should put is something meaningful, something useful, something genuine. More than anything else, something genuine. दिल से आना चाहिए.
Right, sir. Sir, like before we conclude, like what according to you is a work-life balance for a working professional?
See, work-life balance is a HR terminology, and it is very personal as well. If you enjoy what you're doing, that is work-life balance. If you like sitting in front of computer and working on your job, and it is not impacting anybody else, if you're happy about it, that is okay. It's a very personal choice. So
Right.
this Work-life balance was coined by HR consultants to make money. Then they used to
Yes.
do engagement activities and all these things. I like to not work for too long. I work for 10 hours a day or 11 hours maximum. And I need my time exercising, meditation, watching something in the internet, playing with my kids. So you have to find your way of balancing your mind. But there are things you have to do as a person. You can't just do one thing. Like what I mean by that is not multitasking, but you can't just keep working all times. You have to improve your knowledge. Sharpening the saw is very important.
Right.
आप देखें ना वो चाकू को they try to sharpen it.
Yes, sir.
Why do you do that?
To get a proper cut or to make it work properly. That is the
Correct.
core intent.
Correct. If you don't sharpen the knife, the knife is not thick enough to cut faster. So your mind is also like that. You got to sharpen your mind. How do you sharpen your mind? By talking to smart people, by reading books, by listening to podcasts, interviews. You have to make yourself better. Every day you have to make yourself better. Not just once a year. And people often say, I don't have time. I'm very busy. That's what is important.
Is it like, as I said, we are the average of 5 people around us?
Correct.
Does the people who are surrounded by us, does it impact us as an individual?
Correct.
What is your perspective?
Correct. Very much.
Yes, sir. Sir, like, what is one piece of advice to all the youths and youngsters out there?
First of all, as I mentioned before, it's about having gratitude. Be thankful about what you have first. Try and be happy with what you have. Second thing is, every day try to become better than yesterday. When you try and compete only with yourself and become better and better and better, you will win and everybody will win. That's my advice to all the youngsters.
Thank you, sir. It was indeed a great insightful session with you. Thanks for taking out time for the viewers of LinkedIn Local Colombo. And it was absolute delight to have you as a guest of honor. And I'm sure that your insight and words of wisdom would definitely add value in our viewers' life. And yeah, I request you to keep us inspiring and motivating as you always do. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Gaurav, for inviting me. Appreciate that. Namaste.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So with that, to all my viewers, thanks for taking out time for listening this session. And until next time, from Gaurav and LinkedIn Local team, thank you.